Cool. Welcome. Good morning. Thank you guys so much for being here. My name is Rhea Sultan Al-Hashmi. I'm 25 years old. I live in Portsmouth, and I'm the proud photographer for Creative Mornings PKX. And I'm here to share a little bit about mystery, my story, something that is difficult or impossible to understand or explain. And when you start to hear about my parents' story, and in turn mine, you will see how mystery and my story intertwine. I'm here to argue that mystery provides an opportunity and desire for humankind to be curious. I exist from a dad from the Middle East and a mother from the mid-Atlantic region of the United States. My parents should have actually never met. If you think about it, my dad was raised in a faraway village, picking dates to fund his trip to move to Saudi Arabia to attend high school with his brothers, because Oman didn't have education past elementary school. While my mother grew up in a white-collar suburb in our country's capital, with the father working in the Central Intelligence Agency. Upon completing high school, my father was sent abroad to the States through scholarships to complete his higher education. My mom, European, was tutoring my father in English in college in the Great Lakes region of the US in the 1970s, and that's how they fell in love. And that is where their story ends, and in turn where mine begins. I was born in Portland, Oregon, moved to Oman, then England, and then the seacoast. I am 57% European and 43% Middle Eastern. And yes, I did genetic testing and analysis because something on paper could kind of help me break down who I am. I mostly grew up without my father around as he moved back to Oman after completing his doctorate degree in England, leaving me with my European mom and my tan Arabian skin in, of all places, Exeter, New Hampshire. And most of us are from more than one population, right? But I think that because one of mine was this like super far away foreign thing with no other people around that I could help identify with, it felt really mysterious. And I remember I used to have dreams of what it would be like to visit my dad in Oman, as when I was there, I was only a few years old. In those dreams, I explored this gem in Asia, the desert, the mountains, the ocean, the villages. So I became curious. This mystery caused me to be curious. And this is one of the beauties that mystery provides. It's an opportunity and desire to be curious. Mystery brings curiosity. It invites curiosity. And when faced with mystery, we can really go one of two ways. You can be curious and dive into it, or you can be scared and run away. Sometimes we don't have a choice which way we go. I was forced to be curious about this culture because it's half of who I am. When we allow fear to be next in line after being faced by something mysterious, we really do a big disservice to ourselves. We deny ourselves to look into something that holds so much more than we may ever have imagined. When we are more curious, we in turn develop more compassion, and it all comes back to the fact that we are a lot less different than we think we are. The coffee that you are drinking probably came from this part of the world. And my mom shared something with me right before I went to visit my father in Oman when I turned 18 after high school. And this would be the first time I would see my dad in 10 years. The first time I would meet my family from this side of me. And the first time I would start to tangibly explore this 43% of what I was made up of. She told me, Rhea, try not to judge. Try to recognize that they do things because it works. They do things the way they do because it works. And so I will leave you with this on the topic of mystery. When we are faced with something that is difficult or impossible to understand or explain, dive into it. Put on your inner child lens and allow yourself to become curious. It can be a really beautiful thing.
Yes, I do. Hello. I am from New Hampshire, born, raised, generations. I love New Hampshire. I love the snow. I love the cold weather. So in November, when I was asked if I wanted to go down to Austin, Texas, and represent Creative Mornings in Austin, I was like, yeah, I do. And then I realized, wait, it's sweater weather. It's not sweater weather in Austin, Texas. And so I went down to Austin and I packed and I found all of my thinner clothes, my sleeveless clothes, and I packed my bags and I went. And I got there and I was about to go, I was getting dressed for the first day and I was like, oh no. Because I don't know if the people in this room will relate to this, but I have a different level of expectations when it comes to shaving in the winter or in the summer, okay? So some of you are like, that's ridiculous. I just do it all the same, and and some of you are like, what? Shave, huh? Why would you do that? And that's fine. We all have our different levels, right? But I have expectations for summer wear, and I have different expectations for winter, and I'm now a winter girl down in the South. And I didn't bring a razor because I didn't think about this. So I grabbed my little shrug, and I went to the first day of Creative Mornings Summit, and we had a grand old time. And so I came home late that night and didn't think twice about the whole situation until the next morning when I went to put on an outfit, and it didn't have a light shrug. But it was sleeveless. So Rhea and I stopped for our morning smoothie on the way to our next Creative Mornings. And at Whole Foods, I grabbed a razor. And when I got to Creative Mornings, I had a few discreet moments in the ladies' room where I freshened everything up, and I went out to Creative Mornings Summit Day 2, thrilled with this decision, when out on top of the stage comes to warm us all up in the morning a woman in full jazzercise regalia, a la 80s fitness craze, and she wants us all to follow along, arms in the air like you just don't care. Cameras everywhere. So at this point, whether or not my armpits are shaved may be a mystery for many of you, because you're now wondering, it is sweater weather, but she's talking about shaved armpits. Did she go the full way? But really, so yeah. So with that, the question is, what's the biggest mystery to me? Well, the biggest mystery to me is me. I am now going to start reading, because the other was personal experience, and now I'm getting a little bit more technical here about myself. But that wasn't always the case, though. For a long time, I wasn't curious about myself really at all. I didn't wonder why I did what I did. I just kind of did the next thing, right? And I almost really, looking back on it, had a bit of an adversarial relationship with myself, because it was very much pass-fail. If I had an experience, I decided if I succeeded or if I failed. And if I succeeded, I got a quick gold star in the back of my mind. And if I failed, then it could be quick and painless, or it could be pretty long and drawn out, where I start to bring in all of the historical events to let myself remember that I failed. So, let's see. This relationship made me feel the need to close things off. It was bad enough that I knew that I had failed, but I didn't really need everyone else to know. So the less you knew me, the less you could decide for yourself if I succeeded or if I failed. And then I read a book, and it probably could have been any book that I read, but that particular book, it was The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. And at that point, I realized that it was perfectly timed for what I needed to hear when I needed to hear it. And it was my first experience with personal development, which is kind of a buzz term now. I think a lot of us are into personal development. And what it really gets down to at its core is it's a journey to getting to know yourself. And so this book let me see my choices and my experiences in a completely different way. I became a mystery. I knew I didn't know myself as well as I wanted to. Wonder had been sparked. And I wasn't, oh, perfect. I realized I didn't click anything, but somebody had my back. That happens a lot to me now. Everything works out for me. As I continued on my journey, I started to explore myself instead of judging myself. I saw that some of the ways that I failed had actually been the catalyst for future successes. I started to wonder. I began to be curious. I began to see myself, how I feel and how I think, as a mystery, something I wanted to understand. I started asking questions. Questions started to displace the judgment. I felt some room to breathe. My world became expansive. Exploring the mystery of me let me push boundaries, even my own boundaries, my own limitations. Exploring the mystery of me through wonder and curiosity let me laugh at myself, to be playful and to discover myself. Like in that Austin bathroom, I wasn't shaving in shame. I was giggling. I was in on the joke. I wasn't the joke. Studies have shown that curiosity helps strengthen relationships. A study in the Journal of Science and Clinical Psychology asked strangers to pose and answer questions of a personal nature, a process scientists call reciprocal self-disclosure. They found that people were rated as warmer and more attractive if they showed real curiosity in an exchange, while other variables like the person's social anxiety and their levels of positive and negative emotions did not affect the partner's feelings of attraction or closeness. This implies that demonstrating curiosity towards someone is a greater way to build closeness with them. At the end of the day, you're the only person that you're guaranteed to spend the rest of your life with. The only one. Do you want to be able to describe the relationship that you have with yourself as warm and close? Do you want your biggest mystery to be you? I invite you to become curious about yourself and explore the mysteries that you find. Thank you.
When I was thinking about this topic of mystery, it occurred to me, in thinking about the mysteries that I've encountered in my life, that mysteries can be really powerful. You know, they can be absolutely thrilling, they can be terrifying. You know, the unknown has a lot of power. But it also occurred to me that when mysteries are revealed, they have an equal amount of power, and there's that kind of aha moment is really strong. You can, take something away from that. So I wanted to share with you today one of those aha moments I had in my life, and this was many years ago when I was a busboy. It was my first job that I ever had at Ray's Seafood Restaurant in Rye, New Hampshire, my hometown. If you're not familiar, it's just a little south on Ocean Boulevard. It overlooks the ocean. And it was such a great first job. I was working with my best friends. I was in junior high. Lots of life lessons learned at Ray's Seafood Restaurant, you can imagine. And yes, there were mysteries that I encountered while working at Ray's. Sometimes I was on the dumpster cleanup duty, and you can imagine some of the mysteries that brew around the dumpster of a fried seafood restaurant in the heat of the summer. There was also that mystery of that elderly woman she was upstairs. She was very sweet, very nice. She was looking out the window towards the Isles of Shoals, out towards the ocean, and she said, "Young man, come over here for a moment. What is that I'm looking at over there? Is that England or France?" Yes, mystery. So there's one mystery, though, that was a little bit more profound. It had a little bit more of a lasting impact on me, and it was a bar trick. I was upstairs by the bar, and bartender called me in, and there was just the bartender and a regular that was there. And on the bar, there was a plate, and she took a little glass of water, and she poured the water into the plate. And she said, "Okay, get the water back into the glass without picking up the plate. Here's some matches and some quarters to help you." I was like, yeah, that's impossible. You can't do that. Like, I got to put the water back in the glass. I need to pick up the plate to pour it back in the glass, right? I can't do that. And matches and quarters, like, they're useless. They're not the right tools that I need. I need, like, a straw, right, to suck up the water and spit it back in. Like, I didn't have what I needed. So it was impossible, right? I don't know if you've ever seen this bar trick before. I'll do it for you. If you can't see, don't worry. I'm going to have it on the video. We'll watch it again. But so it goes something like this. Ta-da! Pretty neat, right? Pretty neat. So I have a video of it to show you too if you couldn't see it, and I have to give Noelle credit for helping me with this video as cinematographer, assistant director, sound editor. Sound editor, all right. So it's pretty cool, right? So what's actually happening is that the match is burning and consuming the oxygen inside of the glass. So the pressure in the glass drops and the water gets pushed in. So, but this mystery that was revealed to me had kind of a lasting impact on me. It made me think that, or understand that, when looking at a problem that seems impossible, that there's probably a solution there somewhere. You just have to look for it. You have to kind of put on a different perspective, or you have to look at things a little bit differently. And you might find a solution for it. To understand that a glass can be upside down and still hold water. That matches and quarters, they were designed for kind of a singular purpose. But I don't have to use them in that way. I can use them in a different way, right? So that the mystery revealed to me that, in order to solve a problem, sometimes you need to think differently or creatively about what's in front of you. So thank you.
My favorite quote of all time by Sarah Bunbronick. So I'm Jeanette Hoffman. I host Creative Mornings, and I'm owner of 16 Hoops, which is we do strategy and branding for photographers. And thanks to Noelle, our other host, for being our mysterious hostess this morning. So I spent the first half of my career as a wedding photographer. I am now a reformed photographer. But my real love is definitely landscape photography. And so thinking about mystery and the global topic, actually I almost changed my topic last minute to my printer last night because mysteriously it wouldn't print out my notes. But I thought better of it and stuck with my topic. But so the word why kept coming up with mystery. Why this, why that, why everything, why? So I spent the last 2 years on 2 pretty big trips photographing the Highlands of Scotland, particularly the Isles of Skye and Lewis. Has anyone ever been? Woo, let's hear it for Scotland. I came upon many mysterious things in Scotland. These 4,500-year-old standing stones of Callanish were one of them. Why? Why did someone build these? Why were they built? Why did I even go to Scotland? Why is Scotland so freaking amazing? I don't know. But then it began to kind of dawn on me the why people have it wrong. Why is overrated. Why is a given. Everyone has a why. Even a really compelling why takes about 5 seconds to come up with. And so after why, then what? The real mystery for most creative people, I find, on any kind of project, and people in general, but creative people especially, the real mystery is how, not why. But why gets in the way a lot. We work with a lot of creative people. Our clients are all photographers, and trust me, they are all over the why part. They got the why down. They spend a ton of resources, money, blog posts, pondering the why. But I've noticed one really curious thing with why. Why can lead very quickly down a road to complete paralysis for a lot of creative people. Thinking is great, but let's just not spend too much time on it. Whereas how, on the other hand, to me is very exciting because how leads to momentum and action and energy and change. So let's go back to our little standing stones of Callanish. These things, by the way, are like this. Has anyone ever been here besides me? Okay. They're in a very remote place in Scotland, but they're like, 18 feet tall. You're totally immersed in them. But some creative Neolithic person 4,500 years ago stopped asking why and just started making these things. They probably brought a little team together. And so now 4,500 years later, we are all sitting here in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, looking at these things, which is pretty cool. So how for me started with my crazy idea of booking a flight to Glasgow after watching a Danny McCaskill video, which if you have not watched this, go. This guy's like part human, part bike. It's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. Check it out. How was me hiking and schlepping my 18 pounds of camera gear to all these amazing remote locations. So for those of you who have been to Scotland, it's like Ireland and Alaska had a little baby. It's like, there's like these little pretty like flowers and green hills, but then there's it's like really badass formations that you're like just mind-blowing. And you can really immerse yourself in a lot of these really fantastic places. A lot of them are featured in Game of Thrones, so it's like a really cool place. Very inspiring as a landscape photographer. I recommend it highly if you've never been. You don't have to be a photographer. They have awesome food too. It's a myth that Scottish food is based on a joke. So how also starts with all of you guys showing up here today at Creative Mornings instead of sleeping in or blowing it off, because y'all could have done that. But you came, and to me that's the beginning of how, momentum, change. You stopped asking why, and you showed up. So I just want to quickly explore the edges of how together, because that to me kind of defines a creative life, and it's kind of what Creative Mornings is all about to me. So I'm sure many of you have a dream or a little project that you're working on. It could be small, could be grand, could be business related, could be personal, could be art. Maybe you want to go around the world in a boat with your family for a year. I have a friend who wants to do that. Maybe you want to just run your first marathon. Maybe you want to just exercise more, eat better. Maybe you want to join a giant political movement somewhere, or maybe, or maybe go on a march. Go on a march, maybe in Boston or D.C. or New York tomorrow, maybe. Portsmouth. That's right. Okay, 1 o'clock. So, do it. There are a lot of famous people in history who stopped asking why and started asking how. Martin Luther King Jr., for one. In 1965, he told Congress, the time for debate is over. It's time for action. Creative people who get things done do not find how mysterious at all. But let's dial it down to the PKX street level here, because we're full of a bunch of creative people here. And we can talk about grand political movements, but what I really want to talk about is any little personal projects you guys might have. Some little product your company wanted to launch but has been kicking around and hasn't made any moves on yet. Or maybe just a little art installation you want to do, a video. Could be anything. And I'm here to help solve the mystery of how. Are you guys ready? Here it comes. About to solve it. Set a date. 90 days, always good, because not too long, not too short. Tell everyone you know. And you can't do one without the other. So don't go set a date and then whisper, don't tell anybody about it. And then don't tell everyone you know and then never set a date. Because I have friends who do that a lot, and they, 10 years later, still haven't done that thing they want to do. So it's critical to set a date and tell everyone you know. So, give yourself right now, if you have a project or not, just make something up. Give yourself a 90-day challenge for how. Stop asking why. Right this second, stop asking why. Announce to the world, and don't whisper it. Tell everyone you know. Put it on every single platform that you can imagine. Tell your clients, your friends, your coworkers. Tell us. That's what we're here for. We're a community of awesome, creative people who can get things done. Be very specific. Don't just be like, I want to change. Just be real specific. So it's amazing when you do this little set a date, tell everyone you know. It's amazing to watch why become how very quickly once you start to actually put tangible things into action. There's that word again, action. So set a date, tell everyone you know. Suddenly, this unbelievable momentum begins. It's my quote. I'll start. I got something to announce. Ready? Okay, so here's me setting a date and telling everyone I know. So I've had this dream since the very minute that I booked my trip to Scotland, and I'm announcing right here, right now, for the first time in public ever to all you good people, 90 days from now, on April 20th, I will be announcing the dates for my first ever guided photo tours of the Scottish Highlands and Islands. That worked out well. Thank you. So there's that action, momentum, energy. It's really that simple. I had a big debate with my husband about this last night, too, because he's like, well, it's a lot more complicated. I'm like, no, it's not. It's really not. Set a date, tell everyone you know, because that's when magic starts happening. That's when the momentum takes off. Because you might tell somebody something, and they might go, ooh, I know somebody who wants to go to Scotland. You just never know, what's going to happen when you start being... And then your mind also shifts, too, when you've told somebody, and I don't mean just somebody, I mean everybody. When you start telling everybody what you want to do, you're committed now, too. It's just a magical thing that happens. So set a date. There's my other favorite quote. Set a date, tell everyone you know. Stop dreaming and start doing if you want to solve the mystery of how. That's it.